bed. So spoiler alert: the stars of the show aren't here. We know they are the stars. They're our stars and they're your stars. But we've just got them. Oh, so true. And we've just got them to bed, and we're super excited. So I also realised I don't quite know where I'm looking around. We'll try and settle into it. Hi. Oh, that's not scary. There you go. So super excited to be doing a live with you, and what we're going to be doing is you've asked some fantastic questions, and so we're going to go through those questions. If you want to ask more questions as the live opens up, Pete is going to be on it.
Hopefully,
and trying to get those questions coming in. We'll try and answer those towards the end. You know what? Just first and foremost, thank you. Yes. Oh my goodness! Since the last time we did a live, you beautiful subscribers have doubled, and that's blown our minds. We are just so grateful. I don't even know how. It's amazing.
Yeah. Seriously, thank you. And the comments as well have been so deeply encouraging and so sweet. So thank you. Do you know what? Sometimes those comments have rolled in just the right word when we need it as well. So thank you, seriously.
It's just amazing just getting to know you, and bit by bit I feel like we really are doing, and we're really committed to YouTube. You'll notice if you're on other social medias, kind of let them go a little bit because we just want to really get to know you on YouTube. The questions. There've been so many good questions. So everything from how do we afford travel to have we tried durian?
Now that's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yes.
There's also been about favourite foods and what we're up to next. So we're going to dive straight in with the questions that you've already asked. And I apologise in advance for probably getting the names wrong. And if we're looking all over the place, part of it is I still quite don't know where to look on the camera. So it's so funny going live because you're there. We can see already. Thank you for everyone who's liked it already. Oh my goodness. Because so many of you like our videos. I think it's another thing that's helping the videos do well. Thank you to everyone that likes and shares and puts the notification on. We've realised it's really telling YouTube that somebody wants to watch us, that you want to watch us and join our adventures. And it has been amazing just having more of you join our YouTube family.
Just say hi to a few people, saying hello there in the comments.
Hi
Aku, hi Amy, nice to see you guys. Thank you for joining us this evening. If it is evening where you are, maybe it's earlier in the day.
It's morning for some people in America.
Yeah.
And
early afternoon in the UK.
Yeah. And Amy's already asked a few good questions which I've got written down.
Thank you for your questions, Amy. So answers coming up, hopefully.
And Amy also just writes the most lovely comments. Really.
Yeah, and thank you for your comments too.
Yeah, seriously, thank you. So I'm going to ask. So being parents, we thought let's make time to prepare. I'll tell you what people have been asking. You can have a little think about it, so we can have an answer prepared, just roughly. And we've only just got the kids to bed, so Pete has no idea what any of you have asked. I'm just going to put him on the spot and hope he says roughly what I'd hope him.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll say what I'd like him to say.
It might be the start of conversation, so who knows?
I'm really nervous about that. I was thinking some of the things I'm going to say. So the first one, we'll start with the big one, is, and you have to get this right, Pete.
Yeah.
What are we doing? This is from Sick Ready. Just asked, what are our plans for the next 1 to 2 years, Pete?
Well, someone in the comments just said, please come to Sarawak. So that sounds like, we definitely want to get over to East Malaysia. So currently we're in Peninsular Malaysia. And if you're not from Malaysia, if you don't know the geography, there's also East Malaysia, which is part of the island which is shared with Indonesia, formerly known as Borneo. And East Malaysia split into two states, Sabah and Sarawak. I'm trying to get my geography right here. I would love to get over to those eastern states. It is seriously so beautiful. Orangutans, giant mountains, incredible jungle. And I hear amazing food, best of all, amazing people though, right?
Yeah. So that's very immediate. We are hoping to get over to Sabah. So I want to put Pete on the spot. I thought I was going to ask, what else are we doing with our lives for the next 1 to 2 years? I've got my
God
ideas.
Knows. God knows.
True.
But that's more profound than I meant it to be.
Yes.
So definitely, we want to travel more of Malaysia. It is a beautiful country with beautiful people and really amazing food. If you're not in Malaysia, but you've got a Malaysian restaurant nearby, please go there. But what else are we doing? So I think we've got different ideas about this. I'm going to name some countries that I would love to get to as well. So I would love to get Well, Cambodia, we have like deep connections in Cambodia. Emma started a charity there and has amazing connections with some incredible people in Cambodia. Vietnam, I hear good things both about the food and about the hills in the north, so I think it would be quite fun to get over to Vietnam. Somewhere like Bhutan might be on the map, maybe.
I've been dreaming about Bhutan, but I don't know if that'll happen. It's not even open yet, so that's another one.
Yes.
But I think in terms of like life plans, so the more media is explore Malaysia, we are falling in love with Malaysia. If you know about our story coming here, we're really trying to discern how big a part Malaysia is going to play in our lives over the years, because of the way that we arrived here. It's a very special place to us.
Genuinely, really,
Yeah.
I won't just say it feels like home. I think in a way it really is home to us, in kind of quite a deep, meaningful way. So, yeah. And someone just commented about durian. We're going to talk about durian later. Yeah, we can't miss that one.
Absolutely. I'm kind of glad you're keeping up on the comments. So that's more media, and then we've got further travel plans after that. In terms of life, world schooling is a huge thing for us right now. We're living world schooling Hudson, and Darren has already moved to an age where we're schooling him bit by bit. So for the foreseeable future, we're hoping to homeschool the boys as we travel or world school.
You know what? One thing I'm really happy with is when we started, we're both teachers in a past life, and we were so enthusiastic, and we were like blasting Hudson, our eldest child, with loads and loads of homeschool. But yeah, I think it was almost a little bit overwhelming, and we've got to a point now where we've just kind of scaled it back a bit and doing it in kind of smaller amounts. And what I love is he's now saying, "Can we do some schooling today?" He's excited about it. It's great. So that's I mean, that was our aim this year. Our primary aim for him really is just to enjoy and connect with it in a kind of emotional level. Absolutely, that's where it starts. The learning journey starts in the heart.
It really does, and he's so excited each morning to learn. So in terms of how everyone views life differently, and because we're exploring a new way to live, our priorities might sound different. And so of course we mentioned travel plans when he said what you do in the next 1 to 2 years, but I think world schooling and work as well. We're really excited about YouTube. We love where that's going.
It's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun.
Always involves good food.
we find ourselves eating more and more on YouTube.
Yeah.
But or more and more in general. But that would be Malaysia. Work-wise, Pete works so hard on the blog, and it's amazing what he does behind the scenes to keep that going.
Thank you.
So, like, our priority is to be around our family full time, and then we're working as hard as we can behind the scenes as well to make that sustainable, which we'll come back to more later, because one of the big questions is how do you afford what we're doing?
Can I just say something about the blog?
Yeah.
So shameless plug, but on YouTube, this is where you can connect with us as a family, explore, adventure, kind of, I guess, we share values and live with you guys. The idea of the blog is to kind of equip and inform people who want to learn to travel and do adventures themselves. So we tend to write about where we are because we know more about it. So we've got an absolute load of stuff on Thailand, and very soon I'm going to be rolling more content out on Malaysia. I've just published a few cheeky blogs already, but there's a lot more to come on Malaysia. So if you're planning adventures in any of these beautiful countries, check out www.thebackpackingfamily.com. I'm sorry, shameless.
It's not shameless. I just think it's really sweet. I still feel the need to put www at the front.
Oh, that's right. Oh man, it's like people who answer the phone saying their phone number.
He works so hard on that. So that's kind of what's shaping up over. It's family time, it's travelling together, it's world schooling, and it's working like crazy behind the scenes to make that sustainable. That's the next 1 to 2 years. We don't, in terms of family plans, we're just going to see how everything goes. I'm going to move on to the next question.
I just saw a question: have we tried Ramly Burger? Afraid not. If it's good, give me a thumbs up.
Ooh, Ramly Burger.
I mean, anything with burger in the name's a win to me. So, but we've not tried it yet. So. It sounds like a recommendation to me.
Oh, next I've got Amy's questions. Amy asked some really good questions, and these are the ones that I actually meant to ask you in advance as well. So, I love what she asked. She said, most interesting thing that we've learned about ourselves since travelling, and also most interesting thing that I think the boys have learned.
Yes. Okay. So first. Oh, I feel like every day is learning from the kind of deepest relational levels with each other and in marriage. Like, I feel like travel just pushes you to kind of new extremes where you're making decisions very rapidly. Sometimes you're exhausted, and there are kind of complexities that maybe you don't hit in everyday life if you're not traveling, or if you're kind of more localized. So yeah, I think those are kind of.
What about yourself? Let's try and get real, because I was thinking about this recently, and I have started to learn something more deeply about, like you. What do you think is changing in you? Really putting you on the spot here.
Oh wow!
I want us to be real. Like, really want to get to know you. If you want, I can go.
First. What I've learned is I like her to go first.
yeah.
By the way, a few people asked where the kids are. They're in bed, thankfully.
Yeah.
It took quite a while to get them to sleep tonight. I think they were really excited, but.
Yeah. Okay, so because I had a chance to think about Amy's question, I was thinking, since really going full-time traveling, I'm really getting, so I keep looking at the wrong part of the camera, I'm going to just look straight forward. The thing that I've really learned about myself is I never really thought it was about the big stuff, but I realised the world gets you to think about the big stuff a lot. And since traveling full-time and really breaking away and letting go of a lot of things, I'm less and less and less bothered about the big stuff. And so that doesn't mean we don't get excited about places to go, but learning to be present and realising it's the little stuff, and it sounds really cheesy or cliche, but I'm learning I genuinely like the little stuff. When we started out with travel social media makes you think you have to go and work with the biggest hotel and the biggest tourism board, or do the biggest thing and the biggest flashiest thing. And sometimes that's really fun. We do love to set ourselves big challenges. We genuinely love that. And we've been pulled into that in the past. And part of being a lot more real with you on the vlog has also given us that space as we're traveling to really slow down and take that step back from what society is just throwing at you, bombarding you with, whether that is a big house or big travel, whatever it is that's bombarding you with. I'm starting to learn. I feel more at peace and happy when I'm just a bit more present and I'm not too preoccupied with the big things. And I found life brings big things anyway. And so, but I don't mind if it doesn't now. I just want to take everything as it comes.
Yeah.
So I had time to think about that, but yeah, it's not so much about the big things for me anymore. And that sounds really strange coming from me, not YouTubers, I don't know, we chat on YouTube. But as you get into YouTube, there's a culture that pulls you into, you must do the biggest, best thing. And sometimes we'll use that kind of like thumbnail to get your attention, but really it's just to actually, we hope as soon as you click on one of our videos, you're brought into a real journey. Yeah, life is not about the big things you're brainwashed to grab. It's about being present around the people that you love, and we're trying to learn how to share that as we go and work out, like, I think who you are and what you believe in is so much more important than where you go and what you do. So
for me, I think for me, I've been learning about pace. In the past, when we used to travel, we used to love to hit as many countries as we can, just grab opportunities. Like we were just so fast in our pace in travel. And I think I've learned that actually you can really enjoy travel when you slow down, you connect with a place more fully. And I think we recharge better. I think when you've got kids, and obviously we're traveling in a kind of post-pandemic world now, it's almost impossible to travel at the speed we used to. We're kind of forced to slow down by our circumstances. But actually, when you slow down, you can enjoy life, you can enjoy travel a lot more. You see more around you, you connect with people more, you get to know places more intimately. So I think that's one thing I've been learning. I mean, there are so many things. Honestly, I think I could talk all night about the stuff that travel's been teaching me about myself and our relationships. You know, I think it's huge.
I think we've just come out of it, like, when you have family, whatever you do in the world, your life can be high-paced, but I think the institutionalisation, I'm going to sound so hippie-ish, I'm starting to think the institutionalisation of everything just makes it all about productivity, and that doesn't mean we don't want to work hard, we do work hard. But it gets you focused on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, so it can almost stop you from being happy. But we're finding that through slowing down, we actually experience more, we tap into a place for longer, we see it through the kids' eyes. And that's one of the blessings of having kids. But it's also that thing we're talking about, being present and not striving for the next thing, but appreciating what you have right now. And I think that's something we're trying to really do. And sometimes you get these like little cliche quotes about it, but I think we're just genuinely trying to get into that now. But it doesn't mean it's not good to celebrate. And that's another thing I've been thinking, celebrating is really important.
Yeah.
And so in terms of what the boys have learned, I just put down really quickly, for Hudson, his swimming has been amazing. He is, at the tender age of 4, he's in love with swimming, and he can go down to 4 meters, and even if he went down to 1 meter and came up with that smile, the smile will be worth it. But the way you see, he knows it's amazing to get down to 4 meters and get like free dive with his papa and come up. And there's certain skills that we could never have given them a chance to grow in had we not been traveling. So I would say one of the things that Hudson's learned that's really tangible is his amazing free diving. He's free diving at 4.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Diddy, so Darian, I call him Diddy.
That's Chinese for little brother, which we love. And also it's a bit of a joke because in England, Diddy means little, and he's never really been that little for his age.
Yeah.
Even when he was a newborn, he was pretty giant, isn't he?
Hudson calls him little squeaker, and I think one day, I reckon Darren will be bigger than Hudson, and I think he'll still be calling him little squeaker. So.
And we have actually had 3 questions, and I'm gonna struggle to remember them if I don't.
Should we do questions as you go then?
Yeah. My memory's not that good. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so one of them I can give a quick answer to because it's a good question but fairly straightforward. Where after Penang? I'm just going to make that really cryptic and say we're going south. So we're on a southbound journey, but I'm not going to say any more. So stay tuned for the channel. And the next one is still fairly easy to answer. As a food specialist, I think I'm quite qualified to answer this one.
Food specialist. I eat a lot.
I eat a lot. That's exactly right. Okay, so someone said, what's your favourite food out of Chinese, Indian or Malay? I think it depends on the time of day and my mood. I feel like it's saying choose between your children. I love them all. But
you have to have a third then.
True.
That's two choose.
Cryptic. There you go. Sorry, I'm joking. Those 3 types of food, Chinese, Indian or Malay. I think for breakfast, I really love roti. I know that's an Indian food, so there you go. I think by lunchtime, I'm ready for some nasi campur, so I get my Malay food in there. I just love them all. And Chinese food, honestly, Chinese chicken rice, clay pot,
dim sum.
Dim sum.
I actually do quite like chicken feet after having them.
So basically, I've just listed all the food and really not answered your question. There you go.
But I can tell you, it's for real. We probably just go between the 3 foods whilst we're here constantly, so we can't get enough of each one. Like we just had banana leaf recently.
Yeah. But
then we love like the dim. It's so much more like to Chinese food than dim sum. It's the soups and things like that. Like there's some amazing Chinese soups.
Laksa. I mean, maybe nonya. Maybe our answer should just be nonya food.
Yeah. I would say if I had to pick one actual dish, laksa, Penang laksa is my favourite in the world. Could you pick a single dish?
If I had to eat it for the rest of my life, it might not. I was gonna say chengdul because I've got a thing for chengdul. I'm afraid at the moment, but I couldn't eat it for the rest of my life.
If you're outside of Malaysia, that's like an icy dessert with loads of interesting beans and pandan bits.
Pandan noodles, they have coconut milk, and then they use like palm sugar. What I love about chengdul is the way when it. Sorry,
about food now.
As it melts, it's like the way all the flavours kind of merge and fuse together. The dish changes as you eat it, so you have to eat it quickly.
Yeah.
And there was one more question, and maybe you could take this one.
Okay.
What's our vision for the channel?
Whoa, okay, big question.
Yeah.
Vision for the channel. Really connecting. It's the first thing I was saying. It's weird being on the spot with that. It's such a good question, but really connecting. Again, what I was saying about like, you feel like when you start YouTube, you have to really, we're going to do this amazing thing, and it's about these numbers and that number. And it's like, when we chat to you in the comments, like, wow, you're really, not only are you real people, you're really lovely people.
Yes.
And I just think, I would hope over time, it's probably going to be more and more about family values, and we don't quite know how to capture that and where we're going. I know we're out there as a travel channel because that's the thing that we've always done, and it's more like, hey, we're on this travel adventure. But really, I think over time we want, so back at a church and home, somebody said, whatever you talk about all the time, and that's what you really care about. And we found it's like, oh, we talk about parenting all the time. We're pretty obsessed. We're just in love with our boys. We want to do our best and bringing them up, and we want to find this new way of living that is more wholesome and real, and for us breaking away and exploring this new way to live really is a massive step towards that. So in terms of the channel, yes, we're traveling, and some of our titles will be about the travel things, But what we really talk about, what we really care about is family values and trying to work out what they are in 2022 onwards. Like, we just live in a crazy era. I mean, I'm not lived in any other era, so I don't know. But it feels like I've never parented before. We're trying to work out how to do it. And we want to share that openly, and we want to be as real as we can. I think social media is becoming quite a harmful place for some people. It being quite a fake place for some people. And I don't think there's that much wholesome family stuff out there. So we're just hoping to genuinely bring you in, have real connection, and learn to share in a way that we can capture and hopefully encourage like those wholesome family values over time, but through adventures. And I think that's something we've always believed in, is like adventures are an amazing way to enjoy the world. And so
it's one of those things that
family values through adventure. Yeah.
And it's interesting when you remember your own childhood, it's the adventures that stick with you. So hopefully these boys will have a memorable childhood.
So I'm sorry we meant to say our vision is this many subscribers and to do this with it, or like when you think about the money side of it, it's that's something very honest to share with you. The money side of it, we're going to get into affording later. So if you follow us, I don't know how long you've been following us. We have Instagram, TikTok. We also did Twitter to quite a big degree at some point. It's funny thinking about that. And of course YouTube. And at different points, we've made money on different channels, and there's different ways of making the money. And when we were praying about setting off and taking this massive life step, we just felt we needed to lay it all down and work out which bits to pick back up. And so what's actually really happening is Pete works really hard on the website behind the scenes. And the reason it's all info focused is that genuinely gives value and helps people travel. And we can strategize how to monetize that. So we never have to think about monetizing our social media, because I think when you have to monetize your social media, some people do it really well, and we would always hope to do it well, but we never want to be motivated by money. We really meant what we said about connection and wholesome family values. And for us, I feel like that could get tricky if we're relying on it as our main source of income. So although YouTube does make something, we never want to be controlled by that, or making videos just to get views, just to make money.
Sometimes I'm not going to name anything, but I've watched YouTube videos where content creators maybe work with brands or products they don't really believe in, because it's like, well, it's a source of income and it keeps, and you know, I totally get that. Emma was just saying last night that when we were kids and we watched TV, they put adverts on, and you don't have to have like some kind of deep commitment to the thing that's advertising. It's just a financial exchange. But I think for us, if we ever like work with any brands or do experiences, but it's always going to be stuff that we just solidly believe in and love and think is adding value, you know, and that's kind of I
don't know if that makes any sense, because I realise we're so far into the social media from a professional side, so I don't know how much mystery is around social media and how money is made. But the simplest way to explain it is that we, to try and make what we're doing sustainable, we're focusing on the website and growing that. We've made some decisions to make sure that our social media we don't have to rely on that for money. If it makes money, amazing, bonus. It's a bit of a dream to make money through what you love doing. But we just need to have a total free conscience and heart to just share what is true and never be sharing for the sake of thinking about business. I'm sure you'll see us work with brands over time, because there will be brands that we believe in. We don't have to be like, well, I'm sure they're okay and we're kind of skint, so let's work with this brand. Our social media we can keep it pure. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
Pure and wholesome.
There you go. Beautiful. And just to say, I have seen a few of you have been asking questions, and I am kind of keeping a mental note of them. With my bad memory, I will do my best. We will come around to them. So I don't know if you have any other questions you want to address, but don't worry, I've seen your question, and we'll try and remember.
I've realised on lives we really go on so much. So we just love talking to you. We love talking to each other, talking to you. We're just chatterboxers. Amy asked another good question about the best travel advice we've had. Let's see if we can keep this short and sweet, this one, because I think it's a good question.
Best travel advice that we've been given.
So I know we'd like to hear that.
Wow. Do you have any thoughts?
Because I had time to think about it and you didn't. I just thought, do what you truly want to do.
I like that.
And so one thing somebody pointed out is that if you have heard about something before you get there, like the super famous iconic things, chances when you get there, so have 1,000 to 10,000 other people, and it might not be what you really expected. So don't go around ticking boxes, don't go around just so you can say you've been to this amazing place. Actually work out who you are and what you want to do, and it doesn't matter if it's famous or interesting to anyone else, just actually go where you want to go.
Love that.
Don't do it to tick boxes and
Yeah.
please people, because no one really cares. We find when we go back home, and even like our loveliest friends will be saying to like oh how easy travels, and we know we've got about a 2-minute window before they're like zone out, because it's like it's not interesting if you haven't been there yourself. So
you can't visualize it, you can't experience it through someone else's stories properly anyway.
So don't travel for anyone else, work out what you genuinely want to see in the world and do your best to go see it.
I'm afraid mine is a bit ironic because we're YouTubers and we're content creators, but don't live through a lens.
We don't.
But this is the thing, actually having it as a profession, I think keeps us quite accountable. It's like, okay, we've done the work bit, let's enjoy it. Whereas I think at points, I've seen it's quite sad when people will go somewhere, take a photo, not actually look away from their phone and then just walk off. I mean, literally, people like go to these beautiful sunset beaches, like, and then off they go, and it's like, you didn't stop, you didn't take a deep breath, you didn't just walk around, you didn't smell the air or touch the sand, or just, I sound like such a hippie now.
We're turning so hippies.
But yeah, it's that, like, if you want, the photo is just a way of remembering or maybe sharing the experience with other people for like another time, but you're there because you've got a set of eyes and you've got a nose and a mouth and senses and a body to just absorb the experience. You know, travel is a privilege, and I think just just kind of living through a lens, you kind of miss the beauty, I guess. I'm not saying
it's
like if you're
if
photography and getting out there can be fun. You can get the challenge, can actually make you put yourself in places that you wouldn't go to otherwise. But even then, I think you need to put the camera down and just mental photograph as well. You know.
Definitely. So that's I love what you're saying. It's I would say intentionality. So you might actually love photography and actually want to capture part of your trip, your travel, your holiday when you go, and try and separate those things. Otherwise, it just becomes a blur of not really seeing anything, but also not really capturing anything that well. So something we've learnt to do, and it's kind of off the back of other advice. I realise we're giving advice while saying our best advice, but something we've developed is we just have tech-free days where we very intentionally just enjoy what we're doing, enjoy that sunset, and like, oh wow, this place is really good for sunset, and I'll kind of be recceing maybe if we're there. And like, okay, so tomorrow we'll come back and I think that'll be a really good place to take that photo. We'll have fun with the kids there and capture that, like, but we'll separate it. And it's just in this crazy modern world, like, it's so important to put your phone down, to put like the cameras down. So just intentionality.
I like that.
It's beautiful
Good
to capture things.
intentionality.
When you're traveling, even if you're going away for like 2 weeks, try and decide which bits, if you want to photograph, and which bits you actually just want to enjoy and take in.
I like that. Yeah, well summarised. Can I just do the other questions whilst I can remember them? So someone asked what we think about public security in Penang. Honestly, I don't quite know how to answer that. I don't know a lot. All I would say is I think we feel pretty safe in Penang. We've not felt threatened or uncomfortable. So I'd say good. And if you're thinking of travelling to Penang, I mean, we found people super friendly and very welcoming. So I think thumbs up for security in Penang. But if we're missing something, definitely let us know.
We've just been safe here. I feel very safe here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really out after dark because of the children anyway. But even when we are out after dark, or when we have been pre-children, when Pete lived here, we were just always eating and felt safe eating.
I always feel safe eating. Amy, thank you for that quote. I actually want to go back and read the comments and take time to take it in, but thank you. That was a pleasure. Yeah.
I really do.
Another question, let me get this right. Someone asked quite a while ago if we've eaten any weird food. The answer is yes, loads of weird food. I don't know what the weirdest is. Things like intestine, snakes.
Do you want to talk about weird food?
Mm.
It's weird because you've never heard of it until it comes up. So I thought chicken feet were weird, and then so many of you told me about the collagen in chicken feet. I'm like, oh yeah, I've just been made to think that's weird. It was lovely seeing the kids. We did put that on there, and we just let them eat and see what they thought they liked them. So many foods that are supposedly weird, when you actually have them, it's like, oh, actually no, that's like crickets, good protein and tasty with soy sauce.
Yes.
I think weird is just not is what you're not used to. So
Yeah.
we eat a lot of weird food, and then realise after, oh, that's quite good. In most cases, we have had some foods that are a bit gross.
Yeah. Very quick anecdote. In China, it was so weird living in China and seeing in the supermarkets that the meat that's most expensive in England is the chicken breast. All that lovely kind of protein, the white meat, just bite straight through it. But that was the cheapest in China, because in China they seem to value the flavour. I think this is true in Malaysia too, and Thailand. So you're actually prize things like the chicken neck and the feet and those things. In England, those things sound weird to us. So as Emma says, what's weird is always relative to your background, your culture, and your experience.
So true. I remember, I could picture what Pete's saying when we went to go buy chicken and realised the chicken breast was really cheap, and then all the giblets and the bits are expensive. But what I've been educated on more recently is that's where so much of the goodness is, the vitamins, the minerals, and the health benefits come from those smaller bits and less of them.
There you go. So maybe we're the weird ones from the UK. One more question was, do we have any collabs planned with other YouTubers?
Nothing planned. We know some super lovely people. I'm in touch with there's such the world of social media is varied, and we are there's enough sunshine for everyone kind of people, and so we're always interested in getting to know people, and we want to be encouraging, and we generally end up alongside really positive other YouTubers or TikTokers or Instagrammers that are very positive too. Nothing formal planned for a collab, but
be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There's people that I'm kind of in touch with, but it's like the stars aligning, especially if they're families, because it's like also trying to find that time when we're going. It doesn't have to be families, but finding a time we'll be in the same country at the same time. We're very open to it, and a lot of the time just working the logistics. So nothing solid planned. If you have any suggestions, it's always lovely getting to know more people. In this journey, for sure.
Just had a comment. Thank you for that. It's really confirming. Just saying that like family values is very unique in travel, and that's what sets the channel apart. And I know, thank you. I know that particularly means a lot to you, because that's family values have been hugely on your heart for YouTube. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just missed a question. I'm sorry. I tried to watch them. The questions pop up on the screen. So if we do miss any of your questions, genuinely sorry. It's not that we don't care. It's just trying to keep up with it. So.
We'll definitely try.
Can you speak Malay? A few words like terima kasih, satu, dua, sama-sama.
Teaching the kids to count.
Selamat datang. Those kind of common phrases.
You to learn a little bit of Hokkien.
Yeah. Kamsialu.
How did you when?
Luchat obui. Have you eaten already?
You said something super lovely to me when we were dating.
Watching dialu. Does anyone know what that means? Watching dialu. If you know what that means and you're watching, please pop that up in the comments.
I'm going to tell them.
Okay, sorry. So, watching tialu, I'm sorry if I'm getting the pronunciation wrong or the meaning wrong. As I understand, it means I very pain for you, and it's a way in Malay or Hokkien of saying I love you.
Yeah.
So, I just think that's a really beautiful translation to I love you, I pain for you. It's like, it's here in my heart, I feel so strongly, I pain for you.
I love that there's so many different languages. We've noticed that the boys got very used to having a little bit of Thai, and here it keeps catching them off guard that people say different things to them, and they love it.
They kept saying kapong kap when they first got here. They were just saying thank you in Thai. It's that transition. So they're doing terima kasih now.
Yeah.
So,
but also like a bit of Chinese as well.
Yeah.
So,
I love the mix up of languages in Malaysia. It's so much fun, and I love the fact that everyone just kind of speaks a bit of each other's languages too. It kind of creates this loving community feel. So it's cool.
I've never been really sporadic, but to circle back around to the family values thing. Seriously, thank you. Really thank you, because again, it's one of those things where I'm not going to call ourselves the family values channel, but it feels like there's not really much of that going on. and so it's really strange sharing so openly, and I feel like so much of social media is about being perfect, and we're not going to pretend we're perfect, goodness me. Like, this is why I love lives, are so real on the go. One of the reasons we may get back into the social medias over time a little bit more. One of the reasons we love YouTube is we have longer to tell a story. We have that like 10 to 15 minutes to create a story that's more balanced, more real, and can bring family values into that. And it's not just about, we said about not ticking boxes when you travel. It's not about that. We're learning as well. We really, our boys, it sounds cliche, yeah, our boys teach us so much. We're being, to be honest, we really struggle at times with parenting. Like, there's things that we just find challenging, we didn't expect to find challenging. And recently, we had that realization that because we're full time with them, it's the most amazing, truly amazing thing, and we're grateful to so far be able to make that happen. But the things that it brings out of us, it's bringing out some of my, not so much in front of them, but maybe behind the scenes and in our marriage. This is getting really raw. Is this okay?
Of course,
yeah?
Always. This is about being real with you guys. One of the things we didn't say earlier when we were asked about the future of the channel was just being more open and real. So yeah, keep it rolling.
Is that okay? Like,
Totally.
I know he trusts.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know he trusts me actually. So.
Always.
Thank you. So. Sometimes if you've got kids, if you've had kids, you'll just know that it's the most amazing thing, but goodness me, it can tear you apart and make you wonder who you are. And as we're going through those things, and for us, one thing that helps us massively is we do believe in God, we can pray, we do have that solid foundation, but we have God to turn to too. And when things have been really difficult, we've had some revelations recently, and one of the simplest ones was that I think parenting is meant to actually help refine you. So when you're being challenged and you don't like that, there's things that it's bringing out of your character. It's those things that I would have never have dealt with in a life that didn't challenge me as much and wouldn't challenge us as much. And we are having to learn. We thought we were fairly patient, kind people. And then we realised, like, you can always be more patient, always be more kind, always more understanding, always be more open-minded, always learn something new. And I think we want to try and share that as we go, but that is generally where we're at, constantly learning. And we have these amazing days where, like I see, it's easy to talk about Pete doing it well. I feel like I've seen Pete come so far with gentle parenting. It's amazing the way he just deals with the children so lovingly and calmly. It's like, okay, so you're going to throw that over there, and that's not okay, but you look like you need some love, I'm going to love you, and it's just that kind of like, and it's learn to stay calm when they're doing that.
It's not like, the important thing is, it's not that you're losing authority, you don't let them like necessarily do what they're wanting to do, because it might be a dangerous thing. There are natural consequences in the world. So I think a misconception about gentle parenting is your kids run riot. I think as a gentle parent, you still remain in authority. Can I just say as well, when you were talking about that thing about being refined by parenting, for me, so Emma first mentioned it to me after a really exhausting night where basically Darian hadn't slept particularly well. I was just exhausted in the morning. I felt more tired than when I'd gone to bed.
That's fair.
And she just looked at me and she said, Pete, we're being refined. And for me, that was like a paradigm shift. It just massively changed my perspective. So someone asked earlier about things that we're learning when we travel. I mean, I could have learned that lesson anywhere. It wasn't travel that uniquely brought that on. But that's a huge personal lesson I got recently, where it's like actually looking at the hardest parts of parenting and seeing it as a process of refinement, like developing and growing in that character. Because honestly, life is just a journey of growing and being refined constantly. So I really, that one really stuck with me.
And travel keeps you outside of your comfort zone fairly constantly, so there's new challenges all the time. And then when you mix that with all the tricky parts of parenting, we do hit, we've definitely had some serious challenges. And it is that letting it refine you. So rather than letting it beat you or make you feel like it's just like, okay, we need to be stronger or more patient. What does strength look like? I mean, the strength today looks like being more patient and just slowing down, like how we respond, try not to yeah, we're just learning, and we want to share that because we realise how hard parenting is, and if we can add any value to anyone else doing that, or just bring you into the family so you can journey with us. Not everyone has the privilege of family, so part of a vision would be that people feel like they can join us through us being a bit like as real as we can be. Yeah, I think it's great. It sounds like really cliche. People use the phrase family for marketing all the time, friends and family. But in terms of vision, again, I think like a genuine sense of family community within the channel would be more like a vision for us.
I could just say, I love the fact, like through our conversation, there's been several comments saying, "Where are the kids? Where are the kids?" And brilliant. The real stars of the show, they are in bed sleeping.
Yeah.
We do normally try and get them to bed a bit earlier than they went to bed tonight, but they were just wired, so it took a while. Yeah. So sorry they're missing.
I know they're the stars of the show for sure. We know that. And but it's 9:45 at night here, so they need their beauty sleep. They need their sleep so they can run crazy wild tomorrow. Fun day's planned tomorrow as well, so yeah, they're sleeping. And I'm going to keep going with questions because there's so many good ones. Okay, so talk about food. Have we tried durian?
Yes. So I used to live in Malaysia, and the first time I tried durian, it was like trying custard mixed with mouldy onions, and I mean that's like the flavours I got from it.
It's a
like,
smell at first, isn't it?
I kept trying with durian. I was like, people love this. There's got to be something in it, and eventually, after about 7 or 8 times of trying it, I had it. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. This is rich. It's got all these tones. I mean, I couldn't taste the mouldy custard onions anymore. I don't know what to say. So I'm hooked on durian. That's when I lived here. What's really interesting is our little boys, they've never tried durian before, so I think at some point we should introduce them to the delight that is Penang durian.
Let us know in the comments, would you like us to see what boys think of durian? That actually links 2 questions together. So I've tried it also, and so Pete, as you said now, is totally in love with durian, total durian fan. So for those of you that aren't from Malaysia or aren't familiar, durian is that fruit that the outer shell, oh, it's really cute. The outer shell is super spiky and says, "Don't eat me." And then you open it up and it stinks, which says, "Don't eat me."
Eat me.
No,
I hear "eat me" now.
And then eventually somebody tells you it is good. So you take that bite and everyone has a different reaction. And it's strangely creamy. And you're like, no. Okay, a little bit more. This was my journey anyway. Okay, a little bit more. I haven't had any for a while, and I went through a stage of liking it more than I thought, and then went totally off it again. So I'm up and down with it. Pete's just solidly in love with durian.
Oh, yeah. And what's really hard is like when we're not in Malaysia and I can't get durian, I'm like, oh, I just miss this stuff, you know? If you're living in Malaysia, you're from Malaysia, you guys are so lucky, so blessed with the food here. Can I just say one more thing, fun fact about durian? Someone told me this, don't know if it's true or not, but I'm going to put it out there.
The Malaysians will know that if this is true.
Please confirm. It's the only non-meat that tigers will eat. Could be true, because you get tigers in the Malaysian jungle, in Taman Negara.
Let's know if that's
you get
true.
durian there.
It
has an air of plausibility to me. I like the image of a tiger.
It is rich, it's full of enzymes. I did read into it and read something about the enzymes.
For fruit.
Yeah, fruits. So this kind of ties together. We're talking about giving our kids durian. What about how do we get our kids not to be fussy eaters?
That's a good question.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to take it? Or?
Well, there's probably loads you can say on that. I think a lot of it's down to psychology. One thing that I thought about today, it's interesting we have this question today, is even at a young age, don't have any preconceptions about your kids not liking things. Take it out of your vocabulary. So I remember a while ago, we tried something with Darian. I can't remember what it was, but he basically didn't eat it. And we never used the phrase, "oh, he doesn't like it." We never said that to each other or to him, and we just persistently kind of kept trying with it. And I'm just trying to remember what it was because he ate it recently. What's he eaten recently?
Everything.
Yeah.
But we don't tend to make a big fuss. We just
Prawns, sorry.
oh,
There you
there
go.
you go. Yeah.
A while ago, so he used to, you give him a prawn, he puts it in his mouth, just kind of spit it straight back out. And we've just kind of, not the next day, but like a few weeks later or a month later, just let him try another one.
Yeah.
You just gradually keep trying and don't over give them options. It's not, food is for sustenance. It's like if you're not hungry, you don't have to eat. It's not a battle, but...
Just make it very normal. I think it's very sweet. So again, Malaysians are really welcoming and hospitable, and we've been in a lot of situations where they quite often are trying to see if we want some Western food. Like they'll almost like be like, oh, we could try and make this or that when we go into somewhere. And actually, we've never done that. Like as kind as that is. We will just order what we're going to order. And we are mindful, of course, like so there'll always be some plain rice on the table for them and some egg. It's like an absolute go-to, but we'll just put it all out in front of them and just start eating and then offer them it. And we often say to them, you don't have to finish, but we'd love you to try it. And we can go, one thing I don't know if I mentioned this out loud, mentioned directly to you, is depending on how tired they are, like in their mood. So if I can tell they're in more of an adventurous mood, I'll just push them a little bit more like, go on, try it. But if I know they're a bit tired, I kind of think it's not a great time to give them anything other than rice and egg. Or noodles, rice, egg, noodles. So they have their kind of safe foods on the table most of the time. And we just make it fun and just give them a go, and don't make a big deal, like Pete said, don't make it a big deal if they don't like it. And it's amazing. I think it's that autonomy to come back around to it. And they're just super adventurous, and I think it's also probably just that we'll give stuff a go. And there's things I've eaten before, and I'm just in front of them like, oh, I'm not sure what I think of that, but I won't show that in a big way, and just let them have their own response to it too. So,
yeah, and I think it's
making sure it's not a battleground. Food should be a celebration, not a battleground.
Yeah, that's it. I think maybe sometimes keeping like the options down a bit. So sometimes I've been around parents who have like really kind of pandered to food preferences. I would say too much. And the reason I'm saying is give yourselves a break. If you're kind of cooking several meals because your kids like they're not going to eat this and they won't eat that colour food or that shape. I've always kind of gone down the line of no, like that's your food, eat it or don't eat it. That's up to you. Kind of just. Not really wanted to let them have too much choice in it because they're children. I know there's kind of all sorts of theories on this and stuff. If we're trying to feed our kids something and they really don't like it and they're not eating it, we don't want them to go hungry. So we'll provide food. One thing that Emma does that's great, if they're being a bit picky with a dish, is she'll just keep it for later. And when they're so hungry, like, oh, I've still got some left. Here you go. Yeah. So it's things like that. I feel like I've seen parents almost run themselves ragged to cook like several different meals. They've got kids with all their like really specific things, and it's like kids like
if they're hungry, they
if they're hungry, that's it. It's human nature. So yeah,
it's so true of ours. But we always have, and we'll make sure the backups that we have are very local to where we are. So the backups aren't some kind of Western fix. The backups are things like rice, banana, noodles, eggs, or just make sure you have something like that. Ordered or available to them, but like simple plain foods that they can't, there's nothing to complain about, and that's usually the acid test for if they're hungry. And then they amaze us, honestly. Some of the things that they reject, like, oh, they're going to love this thing and they don't like it. But then they're like, love something random like kimchi that's super spicy.
Wasabi peas, they love their wasabi peas. So
and they're just awesome.
One question, it should be a quick answer. Someone was asking where we're from. Are we from London? We're not actually from London. We are from the UK. So Sheffield.
I was living in Sheffield with Pete before we came out. We're mostly from Yorkshire. Yorkshire. I don't know what my accent is anymore. But I grew up a lot in East Yorkshire, moved around a bit, and in Yorkshire in general. Peter's Sheffield boy.
And someone was asking our favourite dish. We kind of answered earlier because we had a different question about our favourite type of food, and we got to our favourite dish. So I think one of your favourites is asam laksa, isn't it?
If I had to pick one dish, and it's really hard because I can think of so many amazing foods in the world. I'm real sucker for Thai food and Japanese food, but if I was only allowed one dish, it would be the Penang laksa.
Mm.
Nowhere in the world do you get fish and mint and pineapple and noodles and spicy soup all together. So that is my one favourite.
It's just an epic dish, isn't it, laksa? It's just, who thought that up? I mean, really, it's just,
A genius.
A genius.
Actually, Malaysians know their food so well and history so well. If you actually do know who thought up Penang laksa, let us know.
Yeah.
Could you pick a single dish, Peter?
Anywhere in the world, I don't know if I could. That's really hard.
Pressure's on me.
Oh man. Can I do a dish that's like really big and basically got all of the Malaysian food piled up on it? With a bit of
Just
Thai food on the top. That would be my choice. It'd be the room-sized dish with all of the foods piled up.
I don't think you could ever answer that, could you?
No, I couldn't. You know what? Something that was an absolute superlative in Japan. We worked with an amazing, really sweet hotel called the Andaz, and they just invited us for dinner. Like just
talk about keeping it real. They were amazing.
They were so sweet.
Loves the food.
And snow-aged beef. I mean, that was a food superlative. I love lamb shashlik in Kazakhstan. Oh. I don't know if we've got anyone from Kazakhstan watching. If you're from Kazakhstan and you're watching, hi, and have some shashlik for me. Durian, that's on my list. You gave me 5. Am I okay with this? Can I keep rumbling? Yeah, durian. I'll have to throw some durian in there.
I think Pete just likes the most recent ones we've been talking about because we were talking about Almaty today. And so it's like, oh, shashlik.
Yeah.
But I'm sure like
you
talk about...
You've got my number. Yeah. Burger, like just give me a juicy burger. No salad, just sauce, cheese and meat.
Well, so I'm talking about food.
Okay, yeah.
Tell me a Malaysian dish you like also. We'll tell them a Malaysian dish you like. What's our next question?
Okay, I did fess up earlier and say I've got a weird like thing for chendol at the moment. I really love it, and
something savoury.
Something savoury. Okay, I can't skip straight to dessert.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh man, char siu pork when it's like dripping with like brown marinade. I could just eat. You know, like you see the pork strips hanging down. I could just eat it without being chopped. Like that. Maybe that's what I'm craving at the moment. And it changes with my mood.
It does change.
You've asked a food lover. Yeah.
A hungry one. We haven't eaten since the kids went to bed. We fed them and put them to bed. So poor Pete is just ravenous. So he's like meat with a side of meat and noodles.
Yeah.
So many good questions. So wow. So we're already up to how do we afford travel? That's one of the questions. I think it's all the questions directly with a person asking them. There are a few other questions after Amy's question. There was somebody with the handle CC Love, which looks a very cute name, asked how often will we visit Malaysia? I'll keep this really succinct because I think we've talked a little bit about it, and that is just that we're falling in love with Malaysia. The way we arrived in Malaysia felt like the Red Sea parting. We think we may have a longer term connection with Malaysia, although we love international travel. We're feeling like a big part of our heart is in Malaysia, and that is growing. So we don't know exactly, but I've got a feeling Malaysia will be somewhere that we care about and come back to a lot. I imagine, I hope, God willing, we'll travel to other places, and I think we'll be back in Malaysia a lot. It is special to us.
I hope so.
So yeah. And then, so somebody with the name, my name is Mas Sabran. My name is Mas Sabran is your handle. Hi Mas Sabran. So plans to visit East Malaysia. Yes, really hoping to.
Love to.
And that is something we talk about, like working with brands or not. I'm hoping to get in touch with some sustainable companies out there, because it's phenomenal what's going on in East Malaysia in terms of the wildlife and sustainability. So we're just going to look into getting those connections going and hopefully working with some people out there. And we'd love to get the kids doing everything from maybe tree planting to seeing the orangutans and learning about the amazing wildlife out there. So yes, hoping to visit East Malaysia. How long in Malaysia? So we've got a bit longer in Malaysia. We'll be skipping over to Singapore, I think, for a bit, and then back to explore more, and that's hopefully when we'll go into East Malaysia. I'm just rattling through these ones quickly, sorry.
Seriously, thank you for your questions. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if we've missed any when you put them up
Absolutely.
during the video. I've been trying to spot them. They do actually come up on the screen, but then they disappear. So
If you
have to be
have
quick.
any questions, we're going to be on the live for about another 5-10 minutes, so we'll really make an effort to read the next questions.
And we'll try and be concise too, so we can get through them.
So the how do we afford travel? So that was one of the big final questions, and there's 2 or 3 little more after that. So we worked and we saved really hard before leaving, and because of the pandemic we had longer to save. Rather than selling all our stuff up, we felt to give away rather than sell that. So it's been more to do with, to be honest, I just feel like we're really blessed, and I feel like we don't always work our finances out exactly. I used to be a bit more like that when I was a budget backpacker. A big part of this is trust and faith. We work hard, we saved hard, and we set up some savings. And we are working to build up the blog, and social media does bring in some money as well. The truth of it is, right now, if we didn't have our savings, we'd run aground. So we are hoping and working hard on online work behind the scenes to make it sustainable. In terms of that overall thing about afford, we travel really cheaply, and so we just so often we'll share anything from a twin room to a triple. We keep it really basic. We do occasionally work with people if there's something special about that place. Occasionally we'll splash out on something if there's a good reason to. But the things that we love are people, at the outdoors, nature, which generally doesn't cost a lot. We love just exploring new places. Of course, of course, trying new foods. And because we're in Asia, compared to our savings just go a lot further. So right now it's a really good place to be when we saved in England to be over here. We do have some bigger plans we're hoping to bring into place. One of the things that does help is we can choose to work with the right tourism boards or places to stay, accommodations. We're not led by that, we're not ruled by it, but we do have that freedom to do that through our work, and that slows our spending down and helps make it more sustainable. But we don't watch our money too closely, where we do our best to be wise with it, but not obsessed with it. And part of being present is moving from, we were both such budget backpackers.
Oh, there's some funny stories.
I think in another live we'll share some of the stories that captured just how ridiculously budget we were. And oh my goodness, I mean, part of it is we wouldn't stay with our kids in some of the places we stayed in before. And we also, because it's more long term, we wouldn't eat noodles every day the way we would maybe before, because we want to give our kids a healthy diet, and the food's amazing. We're just changing, we're working it out. We do spend a bit more than we used to having kids and trying to do it a bit healthier. But travel's not that expensive, and we've said this so many times. We presently spend more we presently spend less. Sorry, we were asked about, we were in a magazine this week, and they were asking about, everyone always wants to know about the money side of things, which is fair enough, it's interesting, like how is it possible? And we've done the maths, by a huge margin. We spent more in the UK living in a very small terrace house, shopping at one of the cheapest shops known as Aldi, making all our own food. We were spending more every month than when we're travelling now. So travel is just not that expensive. It's not one big holiday. We cannot afford one big holiday. We're not on holiday. We are travelling. We keep the basics basic so we can see the world.
Yeah, good answer.
So I think that's how we afford it.
So someone did ask, are the boys sleeping yet? They are sleeping soundly, and is the weather too warm for us? No, I think most of all we love it. What I would say is, if you go out late and go out in midday sun, that's pretty intense. So we tend to kind of stay indoors if we can, or at least kind of lower our activity a bit at that time. But love the warm Malaysian weather. I'm not sure if there are any questions I just missed, but those two have come up on the chat, so thank you.
Yeah, we try to rise early, get out and enjoy the warmth of the morning and then the evening. But
Yeah.
yeah, we try not to be in the day sun unless we're either swimming or in the jungle.
Yeah.
So,
We have got a few more minutes, so any more last questions
Yeah.
we can kind of hopefully give quick enough answers.
Oh.
We're with you. Sorry, I think you may have just lost us there a second. The best thing about traveling Malaysia, just hands down the people, just so ridiculously lovely. We've just felt such a warm connection with people. So thank you, lovely Malaysians, for welcoming us. If you're from Malaysia and you're watching, seriously, thank you. Another best thing, the food. I've rattled on about the food a lot tonight. I absolutely love it. But another thing I love about Malaysia is the wildlife, the scenery, the mountains, the jungles, the beaches. It's such a beautifully wild country.
There's monitor lizards and monkeys everywhere.
Yeah.
I love that so, and goats. In our recent video, it's just I love how you have both cosmopolitan and wild mixed together.
Oh yeah, now we have had a few questions about our itinerary in Malaysia, so I'm going to be a bit cryptic and say we're travelling south, we are in Malaysia for a while. Is it possible to make Penang our permanent home? I would love to be honest. I think we'll always have a deep connection with Penang and probably keep seeing it as home.
So you're saying about the pros and cons, best and worst parts of Malaysia, again for being real. That question, as soon as you said about making Penang our home, part of me was like, that'd be amazing. But if we're working together legally, we would never be able to do that. And in other countries, if you stay long enough and you build up work and things, you can have eventually have a passport to certain countries, but I don't think we'd ever be able to do that. And I think there's little things like that make you realise you never can fully. I'm really honest. I feel like some of the structure of the country makes it harder to travel and integrate, but the people make it so amazing, and I find that quite jarring. So, for example, Malaysian people, my goodness, you are the most beautiful, welcoming, loving people. But then we'll get to a ticket office and pay 6 times the price. And it's like, oh, and what's really funny is the person charging for the ticket just works there and they're lovely too. But it's so hard, like, that's not something that we have in Europe at all, I don't think, where you have a local price and an international price. And I get it, if you're on holiday for 2 weeks, you can probably afford it, but because we travel so cheap and like in general, like it just hits really hard. We're used to kind of traveling on local.
People don't believe I'm Malaysian. I even put the la in. I'm like, oh, give me a Malaysian price la, and they're like, you're not from Malaysia, are you?
He's like, I'm half Malaysian la.
How can they not see it? Do you not think I'm Malaysian?
Is this a Malaysian face?
Yeah, but that's a frustration, isn't it? Sometimes
it's not really bad because you asked about the best and worst things. I don't want to be like really fake and go, no, it's all amazing. Like actually, so much of it is amazing. But that's one thing that the reason I find it so strange is some countries aren't that welcoming, and that includes the people. And whereas like Malaysia, the people, you're so welcoming. And so it's so strange to then like feel like see the like foreigner price, and I think even being reminded that you're a foreigner when it comes to paying can feel really jarring. I don't know if there's any of those.
I know what you're saying about. I think it probably comes from like, people have come here on holiday for a few weeks, of course, like can afford to pay more. One thing I also give it, like if I'm advising people on the blog, we're honest on the blog. We tell people what it's like. We'll tell people about the challenges and things like, you know, having the dual pricing system and stuff. But I'll always say, like, decide if you want to do the thing at the cost, and then don't let that detract from the experience. It seems so silly to come all this way to such a beautiful country, line yourself up this beautiful activity, and then let something like that spoil it, right? I mean, if you want to do it, you know how much it costs. For me, it's kind of like, it's almost like mentally compartmentalizing it and saying it doesn't really matter that someone else has paid a different amount, because I know that it'll cost this and I want to do that thing.
And that's probably the right attitude. I think this is, I keep trying to remind myself, actually I want to be happy that it is less for the Malaysians, rather than feeling a little bit like, oh, so much as a foreigner, and just be grateful that it is less for Malaysians, because one of the best things about Malaysia, of course, is you lovely people, and like the fact that it's made more possible for you to travel around Malaysia through the prices being lower is great. I guess just coming from where we're from, it's really surprising to have dual price at all. and I just want to get my head and heart right and just be grateful that like it's actually still affordable, and but like you said, you can just choose to do it or not, and you're usually looking at amazing things. Like some of the things that we can do in Malaysia are so unique to Malaysia, and that's what we love sharing. We want to really promote Malaysia really positively to the world through our blog, through our vlog.
And you know what, some of the best bits are just totally free. Seriously, that's something I've found in Malaysia. Like some of your best places, experience, scenery, nature, totally free of charge. So
and the food's almost the same price for everyone. That's the best bit.
True. Yeah. So, she's talking my language now.
Yeah, very hungry. We're gonna have to get a very, very late supper.
Yeah.
So it feels really weird talking about anything negative, but since you asked about best and worst, I feel like we're like plucking at hairs, like to try and think of anything bad, because I hope we really are in love with Malaysia. What's that one? Sorry.
Well, we've had some advice to go to Ipoh. Absolutely love to. I hear good things about the food in Ipoh.
Oh, bless. Someone said they hate the foreigner price too. Thank you. I feel really bad complaining about it. We're grateful to be here.
It used to be a colony, true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So.
It just feels right. I'm so sorry to complain about it. It's just, we're trying, that's about the only thing I've honestly just a few times. And I think it's so jarring because Malaysia is so genuinely welcoming. And so, but it's really sweet that you get that too. And I believe that because like, I just think you're just like really compassionate people, and we just love being here. I think we're through all the questions though. Was there anything else? Yeah, it was just questions from the live, which I think Pete's done. Yeah, so the last one was about the best and worst. Wow, we're loving it here. It's really fun to do a live from Malaysia. Yes. I think the only thing I think of to end on again is thank you. We just feel so loved and welcomed here. Thank you to everyone that is supporting the channel. It means a lot. I was also just saying to Pete recently, like when I read through the comments, we occasionally get the odd funny comment, but for YouTube, like basically YouTube can be like a really harsh place. I've seen other people's comment sections, and I'm like, Pete, we've got like the nicest subscribers in the world. Look what they said, and I'll read them out. And sometimes some of you write messages to the boys, and I'll tell the boys what you've said. And actually, it's an absolute joy, like seeing the comment sections. I'm really sorry we don't keep on top of them as quick as we can. We try to stay on top as quick as much as we can. It's just one big thank you. I know we're a bit tired, so I don't want to like rattle on, but we're just grateful. And is that all the questions you've seen?
Yeah, and again, I'm sorry if I missed any. I've been trying to watch the questions popping up on the screen, but they only come for a little while. So if I've missed your questions, genuinely sorry. It's not that I don't care. It's not that we don't want to answer them. It's just not being quick enough.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
Said, oh, thank you.
Yeah, God bless you too.
Oh, God bless you too. So that, do you know what? That's a perfect note to end on. Just thank you and God bless.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And now there's the awkward bit where we try and work out how to end it. How to,
Seriously. All night, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that one, yeah.